Okay, so this section is dealing with composite functions, and what does that mean? So think about if you've ever heard of like a Russian doll, like a nesting doll, how you can, if you open that doll, there's another doll embedded in it, and if you open that doll, there's another doll embedded in it. It's called a nesting doll. So the composite function is basically like that, within that function, there's another function, and sometimes there's another function within that function. So we're just kind of unraveling that, okay? Or using different functions and inputting them to one another to get a result. Okay, so probably the notation is one of the most confusing things about this. So, for example, if I have f and this looks like a zero, but it's a circle, f circle g of x. Okay, what that means is you're going to take the outside function, which is f. All right, and you're going to embed the g of x inside that function. So it'll be g of x. All right, so again, this is the notation. All right, so f circle g of x means f of g of x. All right, and vice versa. If I have um, g circle f of x, that means I would have the outside function will be my g and my inside function will be my f. So I would write it as g of f of x. Okay. Right now it seems confusing, but when we do an example, you'll see what I mean. Okay. So, but don't get, you know, um, bogged down on the notation, but basically these mean the same thing. Okay. They just write it in this form. Okay. So let's say that they want us to find f circle or f of g of 4. Okay. They want us to find f of g of 4, which basically is f of g, or I can write it in this form. Okay. Okay. So let's say that our f of x is equal to 3x plus 2, and then our g of x is equal to um, 2x squared minus 1. Okay. So it's telling us how we do this is, or how do we solve this? Um, we work, so the steps is we work inside out. Okay. We focus on the inside and then we work on the outside. So in this case, it wants me to um, find out what g of 4 is. Okay. It wants me to find g of 4. So that's what I'm going to do first. So I'm going to find g of 4. So, okay. So I have g of x here. So all I'm doing is I need to put 4 into g of x. Okay. So this is going to be g of 4 equals 2, and then I'm going to plug in 4 in there. So that's going to be 4 squared minus 1. Okay. So when I simplify that, I'm going to get 32 minus 1, which is 31. Okay. So it's telling me that g of 4 is equal to 31. All right. So this is saying g of 4 is equal to 31. All right. What do I do with that information? Well, I take that information and now I plug it in for f. All right. So now this in here is going to be replaced by 31. Okay. So now I need to find, so let's use a different color here. So I need to find f of 31. Okay. Well, do I have f of x? Yeah, my f of x is right here. Okay. So now I'm going to put 31 in for x. So that would be 3 times 31 plus 2. So that's going to give me, looks like 95. Okay. So that's all I gotta do. So that's my answer. So I would write down f of g of 4, I did all that work, is equal to 95. And that's it. Okay. Give me 1 second here. All right, so we're going to go through the same process, but this time we're going to do the g of f of x. So going the other direction. Okay, so in this case, they want us to find um, um, g circle of f of 2. Okay, which basically means find g of f of 2. All right. And we're going to use the same functions we had before. So, um, it's a different color here. So we have f of x is equal to 3x plus 2. And then g of x is equal to 2x squared minus 1. Okay. All right. So first step is we need to find, remember, we work inside out. So we're going to look inside here, which is f of 2. So I'm just going to plug in 2 in for my f of x. All right. So again, I'm looking for f of 2, and that's going to be f of 2 of 3 times 2 plus 2. Okay. So that's going to give me 6 plus 2, which is 8. Okay. So now I'm going to replace f of 2. So this is going to go in for f of 2. 8 is going to go in for f of 2. So that's what I'm going to look for next. So I need to find g of 8. Okay. Well, I have g of x. So I'm just going to plug 8 in for x here. So I have g of 8 is going to be 2 times, again, I'm using this equation here now, 2 times 8 squared minus 1. Okay. So when I put that in a calculator, I get 127. All right. And that's it. So that's going to be my answer there. So g of f of x is equal to 127. Okay. Or g of f of 2 is equal to 127. And that's what I should have wrote. Oh, I did that. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Questions so far? Okay. So why don't you guys try one? So, all right. So again, remember this just means f of g of 4. Okay. F of g of 4. So that means we work inside out. We need to focus on the g of 4. Once we get an answer there, then we plug it in for f. Okay. So g of 4. So g of 4 is going to equal what? Well, I'm going to use this equation. So that's going to be 1 minus 3 times 4 squared. Okay. So when I do that, I get, looks like negative 47. Okay. All right. So now I know what g of 4 is negative 47. So now this here becomes f of negative 47. Okay. Because again, g of 4 is negative 47. So now I need to plug this in. Okay. For f. Well, what is f? F is this here. Okay. So that's going to be 2 times negative 47 squared. Okay, so when I put that in a calculator, we get 4418. So there's the answer there. Okay, so very good. All right, any questions on here so far? All right, so the next example is similar, but in this case, we don't have to evaluate at a particular number. We just evaluate at a function. Okay, so what does that mean? So we're still going to find f circle g and g circle f. So find f circle g and g circle f. Again, that just means f of x of g of x and g of x of f of x. Okay, fog and goff. Okay, so let's first find goff. All right, so we want to find f circle g. So again, that just means f of g of x. That's all that means. So let's say f of x is equal to um, negative, let's try this one, x plus 1. Okay. And g of x is equal to um, x squared plus 4. Okay. So again, notice there's no number for x to input because we're just putting the function itself inside x. So what does that mean? So again, we work inside out. So what g of x? G of x is going to be this here, right? This is g of x. Okay. What do I do with g of x? Well, it's telling me, okay, I want you to take g of x and plug it in for f. So let's write that down. Okay. Take g of x, the whole thing, and plug it in for f. F, okay, or f of x. All right. Take whatever you have for g of x and plug it in for f of x. All right. So what do I plug it in? Well, whenever you see an x, you just replace it by x squared plus 4, right? So I'm going to take this here and plug it in for x. Okay. So let me write this down. So I have, again, um, f of x is equal to x plus 1. All right. And then I'm going to take this x and replace it now with x squared plus 4. So I'm going to use a different color here. So I have x squared plus 4. All right. So again, I'm replacing this x with this here. Okay. And then I just have the plus 1 in the and step. Okay. So when I simplify this, I get x squared plus 4 plus 1, which is going to be x squared plus 5. Okay. And then there's my answer right there. Okay. I'm not evaluating at a particular number. So we just solve f circle g. All right. So now we're going to work on g circle f. Okay. So g circle f is what we're going to work on now. So what does that mean? So again, we have f circle g. So now g circle f. That means I take f of x and I plug it in for g. Okay. I take f of x and I plug it in for g. So what does that mean? It means now I take this here and I just plug it in here. That's it. Okay. That's what this is saying. Take whatever you have in f of x and then plug it in to x for g of x. Okay. All right. So what does that look like? Well, so we get g of x is equal to x squared plus 4. All right. Actually, let me use a different color here. So g of x is equal to x squared plus 4. All right, so what is going to go in for x? My x plus 1. So x plus 1, okay? That's being raised to second power, right? Because this is right here. Is the same thing I put in here, okay? Or x plus 1 is I put in for x. Okay, and then I have the plus 4. Okay. So then I just simplify that. So that's this is going to be x plus 1 times x plus 1. So that's going to be x squared plus 2x plus 1. Okay, when I multiply this out. All right, and then I still got the plus 4. Okay, so again, this here is this. Okay, all right. And I just took a shortcut. The shortcut is if you're going to multiply the same factor twice, all you do is square the front, x squared, square the back, you get 1. And then you multiply the two, x times 1 and double it. Sorry, x times 1 is x, double it gives me 2x. Works every time. Square the front, square the back. So x squared, 1 squared is 1. Multiply the two, x times 1 is x, double it, gives me 2x. Okay? Again, if that's too confusing, you just multiply it out using the FORT method. Okay, so then now this becomes x squared plus 2x, and then 1 plus 4 is going to give us 5. And then there's our answer there.